Hello everyone, this is Grilled Chess channel and this is our first video. I'm Vladislav Bakhmatsky
And I'm Vladimir Chernikov.
and we will try to post chess content as much as we can, but this is our first video and it's about top 10 mistakes that candidates made. It was like Chess Candidate Tournament 2024, and we'll try to figure out who made biggest amount of mistakes, what mistakes happened, and we'll try to show you, analyze, and give our comments. So,
Okay, let's start from the shared 10th 11th place, and this first game between Vidit and Fabiano Caruana. That happened in first part of the tournament. What do you think about this position?
I think that right here Vidit had really great chances, and during the game when we spectated it, we really thought that Vidit should bring Caruana down, but something went wrong. And what happened in the game? It was Queen e5 move, after which, why was it a mistake? Vladimir, how do you think?
The problem is that queen comes to a4, and you don't have c2 square for your king anymore, and it leads to some perpetual kind of checks in this position.
Yeah, and
And
that's exactly what happened, and Vladimir absolutely right, because after queen e4, right now king has some kill zone, because right here there is a threat of rook a1, and the king is about to get mated, so white was forced to go queen b8 check and give a perpetual, which Caruana, I'm pretty sure, was very happy about. How was it better to play right here?
okay, so here you understand, right, that if you're playing with white pieces, that queen a4 is almost unique threat that black has, because rook a1, you just walk away with your king, and if you see queen a4 and you see that there is no other move that can stop it, you just need to hold king c2 and try to run away with your king towards the king side, I
Yeah,
think, with
and
c2.
this is the right concept. Yeah, of course it looks scary because let's say queen a4 might come after the king and tell
Yeah, but there are
king.
not too many checks,
Yeah,
right? And
king is really wanted right here, but we can escape, plus our bishop can give a hand, and this king on e8 definitely feels way worse. But
yeah, we can even some kind of postpone an h file if we don't want to checkmate black or something.
exactly. As we mentioned, 10th place is kind of shared because both games belonged to Vidit, and the second one is maybe less obvious for average player, but we'll try to explain it to you. What move happened in the game? And it was d4. Seems like nothing is wrong. We're trying to push our pawn up, we're trying to seize some space, control the center more, but how do you think, Vladimir? What's the mistake? Why?
Well, the problem is
Is it
that
so
after
bad?
this move, just pawn e4 becomes very weak. You remove the defense, or that pawn was staying on d3, protecting e4 pawn. And now, obviously, black will not take on d4. If not, Vidit will be happy. But if not, what you just do is white. If you play d5, that's not move what you ever want to play, because e5 square becomes weak, etc. And if you don't do nothing, that normally black will just stay. You just create the weakness on e4 that black can pressure. That's actually what happened in the game. I think queen ended up on a8 square or something like that on the
Yeah,
game. And
exactly. And this is a very typical mistake that in such structures with pawns on e3, e4, or e5, e6, if we play black, people make. Because it seems like we're attacking, but in fact we create weaknesses. And even Vidit didn't dodge this bullet because he went for the game. What was better to play? I don't know, we can come up with many moves, but probably reinforce the position, be ready for knight c5 with some knight b3 somewhere. Any other suggestions?
yeah, maybe knight comes to c3, also c4, maybe one c3 or
Yeah,
something
yeah,
like
yeah.
that.
Probably after knight c4 we might have some pressure on the b file. So these are two mistakes. That like more or less reasons why Vidit couldn't really succeed very much. And right now we are approaching place number
9?
9, and we didn't do it on purpose, honestly. But right here, the game we did Nepomniachtchi, which was round number 11, probably. And this was a very tough game because we did prepared some opening. As we can see right here, he played knight c4, that was unusual move. Then after that he played knight e3 and played bc, but then after bishop g4, as you can see, I mean, okay, you cannot see it, but he spent a while and went for the end game where he wasn't really comfortable with all the situation. But the game went on. Nepomniachtchi pushed, but at some moment he overextended, and seems like d5. I mean, a perfect move. I mean, d6, d5, we had the weakness, we push in, we open up the bishop, we prepare some check. But still it is in the list. Vladimir, can you clarify why is it so? Why such a perfect move is actually a big mistake?
Yeah, the reason is that here, just when you play some move, some players, moreover the beginner players, they start to think like, well, he cannot take because I play this move and I win the game. For example, here looks like knight d5 for white leads to the losing of piece because knight takes d5, c takes d5. Let's show it with arrows or in the board, yeah. Pawn takes c4 and it's check and double attack on a3 as well. So bishop fails, and there are probably calculations stopped of both players, but turns out that in the end, 1 second.
Because
Yeah,
because I
in
think
the
that kinda Vidit, I mean, was low on time, was pretty low on time at this point. So he decided like not to risk and decided not to spend vast amount of time. Keep in mind that there is no time increment for the line that might look suspicious, but in fact, I
It
can
was very
play.
important, right? Because we
Yeah.
see here that at the moment of the game, we did have 5 points and Nepomniachtchi had 7, so that was quite important moment for Vidit if he wanted to come back somehow or something. But
Even though I don't really think it was really impossible and relevant, but anyway, for like
yeah,
for some
in other
chances
hand.
for dignity, he needed to push. And the point was that king c4 is the move, and it looks like rook a3, bishop e3. What can we do? Everything, I mean, is lost. We're down a piece. Everything is terrible. End of the world. But what's
But if you
the
continue
point?
calculating, actually it's almost only logical move that you have in this position, king to b5, and then turns out your postpones are just promoting.
Yeah, and that's the problem. Like we pushing, black had a chance somehow to find an option. It's like going bishop back, try to distract the king because after c5 the pawn is out of everyone's reach. But anyway, like if we take then some bishop c5, but if we even play c5, this pawn can advance and the position doesn't look very well. I mean, doesn't look good. Or maybe I'm
Not
mistaken.
a,
Stop.
yeah.
Probably I messed it
Maybe
up. Yeah,
also that
right
is
here. Yeah,
e4
it's
somewhere,
just king a4. Yeah, I'm just messing
not
up
here.
brutally. Yeah,
Probably
true.
e4 first, right? And e4 and c5 and then e4 or not.
Yeah, probably.
But I mean, in any
Maybe
case, why
maybe
just
bishop e7 wasn't the greatest really option, but yeah. It's like in general this was totally viable, and white already after 40's move because king b5 is a move number 41, which means that time will increment and you have perfect chances. I mean, definitely not to lose it, but also fight for the win. And this could really like give Vidit the point instead of 0 that he achieved in the end of the day, because instead he preferred to go king c2 and Nepo kept on pressuring, which led to a very difficult position because from the human point of view I think it's easier to play, right?
yeah, you just have a pass pawn, you have effective rook on b3, and
Yeah, and the
yeah,
king
black
can
probably shouldn't be
come
worried.
and this pawn's not really moving, so that's the
That's what
problem.
actually happened. King just came via, like, past all the board actually, and
Yeah,
yeah, you will see
it's
it right
like it
now.
was really nice Radao, like he went to the center and it didn't end up very well in the very end. And okay, we go to the next one, and top 8 example and right here chess prodigy Alireza Firouzja, who Magnus wanted to play against in the World Championship match. But after two candidates, how do you think Vladimir? Does he think that he was worthy?
Oh yeah, I think he even shouldn't be there, but if he went to play there, he spent probably 1 minute. I think that he played very good in this tournament versus Gukesh. I think he found all the moves that Gukesh forced him to find, but except of this, for example, this position, right? It's eighth place, but just because first eight examples, I think, are much ahead than others.
Yeah.
Let's say it could be clearly be number 3 or number 2 even, because here, okay, here's black to move in this
Yeah,
position.
and you probably don't know, but it's move number 41. So Nakamura played g3. It means that Firouzja has plenty of time. It's like 30 minutes, time trouble gone. You can really take a deep breath. But this deep breath went and twisted somewhere really, really wrong. Because,
Yeah, he played just move g5 here,
yeah,
and let's
g5.
explain why this move is bad.
And actually, like, chess of Nakamura speak for itself because, like, he definitely proved why it's bad. Because probably all of you would here just grab the pawn and grab on h5. You might wonder, like, maybe I'm mistaken, maybe I don't see it. No, you don't. You see everything. You just pick up the pawn, and what's also the problem besides the fact that the pawn is gone, Vladimir?
Yeah, okay, so now a5 is hanging, so very important that you need to spend the time to play something like rook e5 in this position with black, and then you let the white to play g4, and then g5 pawn is weakness that fixed on the square, on the dark square, or the square of white bishop, and except of this, there is it's clear two weaknesses, and plus the knight will clearly be placed on f5 or on e4 or whatever it wants to
Or
be
even
placed,
f6
and just
in the
or
near
f6,
future.
and then you can
And then,
go
like,
to
e4.
d7. I think at some line or something like that. There was check on d7, and then knight was jumping to b6, c4, or something like that. Anywhere actually. And
Yeah.
you just have two weaknesses that you created it yourself, not
So
the
yeah,
opponent.
I don't know. Probably like Firouzja tilted as the last time. He really need to work with his mentality, or probably not to play 100 opens in December to qualify if you're not ready. Uh, but I mean, partly joke, partly truth. What was better to do? Of course, position is not easy, but better was to give up a pawn. Let's say, for example, go some move like Rook A1, and then after trade off, like rook a5, bishop a5, this pawn will clearly fall, and this endgame probably we need to
No, but
yeah,
there is idea that king f7 was very important move,
yeah,
I
yeah, king
remember. So you
f7.
can't capture on h5 because of rook e5 double
Yeah,
attack
yeah,
here.
yeah, you're
And
absolutely right. That after knight h5 there is a double attack, exactly. I'm just forgetting all the things. And yeah, the point is that we have to take, and this is a
And
position
now
we have.
g6. Yeah, I mean, like
Yeah,
if king f7, very important move because if you hold bishop e1, let's say instead of, or excuse me, like king g8 or like any random move instead of king f7, white plays bishop e1 and then pawn in h5 end up falling anyway because
yeah,
you can protect
yeah.
it later on. But here you have g6.
Yeah, if we just play, yeah, pawn will fall. Maybe rook e5 is still okay. Rook e5 is not viable because of the check, so yeah,
No,
king f7 is just way more
king
better.
f7,
So
g6.
the main motive right here is the endgame is still hard to play. It's like really nasty position. You don't want to suffer in such positions as black. And there were, by the way, even couple examples in the very famous book strategy endgame endgame strategy of Shereshevsky, where it was like example like that. The main idea is that we want to capitalize on the weaknesses, and let's say if it was Magnus Carlsen, chances of Firouzja would be probably too small, and he would torture him to death. Of course, not literally, but yeah, I mean in this position, Black has real
Okay, so
chances to
Firouzja
survive.
decided to not struggle probably in
Yeah,
those
he
days and
decided
play
to,
g5.
yeah, just yeah, it wasn't really the choice to kill the position like that, but still. And we go to the top number 7, who is even juicier than that, because already g5 seems like tremendous mistake. And this is going to be the game of Nepomniachtchi Caruana. And like Vladimir, what is your first question in this position? Why we looking at the position after move number 2? Like why is it even in the list of mistake and on the top number 7? It's like pretty high.
Yes, and I should say that here white to move, and obviously there were not move like knight takes e5 or g4 or something similar. Just
Yeah.
the problem is the tournament situation because Nepomniachtchi plays versus Caruana, that's not a weak player in any hand, and he plays with white pieces. He doesn't have situation where he wins the tournament with a draw or he increases a lot his chances, just more throw it away. And here he just decided to play knight c3, 4 knights opening, and make draw in question of half of hour or something like that, half an hour I think.
Yeah.
And he played it all very fast without any trial probably to win or I don't
Yeah.
know why. There's
Yeah,
no reason.
yeah, yeah. Because like it's round number 6. It's like the whole tournament to go. I understand that Caruana was a pretty strong opponent, or it was no, it was round number 7. But
Round
still,
7, yeah.
we saw in the round number 14 how strong Caruana was at this tournament. And I mean, my opinion is that he came here with a bad shape because he really didn't win the positions that he could win. He wasn't that aggressive. It wasn't that Caruana of Caruana prime, you know. But against him, Nepomniachtchi, who was in the lead, this game actually costed him the whole victory. He was leading, but he was like really the shadow of his like past candidates tournaments, because
Yeah, that
like
you're trying to push and push every game.
as usual, he like grabbed some advantage in the beginning. He like scored very nicely, and then he stopped. It's like, like engine stopped working, not stockfish, just like a car, and you're not calculating. You like ride like 60 kilometers an hour, really really slow. And he made a lot of draws, and this is the route. This is like that's where it all began, and this was, I mean, strategically bad decision, because I mean you can push Caruana pretty easily. You can play for a win. I mean it's not like easily win, but you can try to create problems, knowing how good preparation of the Nepo can be. But with
Yeah,
knight
or
c3,
typical position where, like, let's say 85, 90% is a draw, but you have 10 to push, you can at least to play with something in your position, not just. And the thing is that not just the position that he played or the moves, that how fast it was,
yeah,
and
because like
didn't
I don't know,
draw.
it was like really bad decision. But okay, we're right now going to the top number 6. Right now there will not be such examples like this one, because this one, I don't know, kind of unique in this tournament. Only there was like Vidit's game in the round number 14 when he made a draw against Firouzja in the typical Berlin
Yeah,
drawish
but it didn't
position.
matter.
But yeah,
Yeah.
it's like they weren't these heavyweight guys in the end of the day who fighting for the victory. So top number 6, and again Vidit, again Firouzja, and your bad Vladimir, who messed up this time. No offense, of course, but yeah, it's like these
Okay, so
players were
already
in the
it's not
list.
mistake of Vidit here, right? We see the g4 less move, so it helps me to guess that it's Firouzja, and he went for queen f2 in this position. He just grabbed a pawn without too much thoughts, right? He wasted 10 minutes for this move, and he grabs a pawn that was just bad move. I mean, it's not that difficult to spot why, right?
I mean, for the player like Alireza Firouzja and Vidit, I guess yes, it's like it's not that difficult. Even for me, it's clear. Like, and
It's like you calculate all force moves, right, in
yeah,
this
yeah.
position.
Because in such positions, I mean, position is sharp. It means that you need to consider candidates, checks, captures, attacks, and stuff like that. Of course, we can grab a pawn, but it will not really affect position a lot. But we can see that the king is in the center. So what move clearly makes sense is e5, and already it
Yeah, break the
starts
center.
smelling not good. But then after D, it's even cooler, because how can White cook this position and win the game?
Okay, there are a lot of moves, but I think probably the simplest one is to go maybe bishop e3 here, I think.
Exactly, bishop is 3, because queen is surrounded and he cannot really move back somehow. He cannot escape really easily. There is no like backup plan. There is like no good sacrifice, nothing like that. And after queen g2, for example, rook
Yeah,
g1,
in the end
the
it just
queen
gets.
is like some, I don't know,
Yeah, just was forced, right? Rook
haunted
g3 and
killer.
bishop g5, yeah.
Yeah, and
And
queen is dead, game is over. And I don't know what Firouzja was thinking. It's like, I don't know. It's like when you are a mouse and you see the cheese in the mouse trap, you should probably wonder what's here. And he's like, nah, okay,
yeah,
why?
he wandered for 10 minutes and he said, well, looks
Yeah,
like it's fine.
I
And
mean,
he just grabbed.
better to like die with glory, eat this cheese, and that's exactly what happened. Because after queen of 2 e5, just some avalanche came on the head of Firouzja, and he just got brutally destroyed. But yeah, right here, like Vidit played pretty well, but Firouzja's prep somewhere didn't go well, because I
Yeah,
mean
like
it
usually if
was.
you play against a light grandmaster and you see this pawn on f2 that is sacrificed, if you are not sure, if you don't know the theory or you didn't calculate everything perfect, like why you take this pawn, right?
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
probably not thing
It's
that you
like
should do.
the same story with usually b2 pawns and some knights and stuff. It's like that's the reason why it's called poison pawn. But okay, we're moving on, and the next game we're gonna discuss,
Five
and
we enter, right?
yeah, it's top number 5, entered here, new person on stage, and this is Praggnanandhaa with his phenomenal preparation against Jan Nepomniachtchi in the Petrov's defense. If you didn't see it, you can take a look from the very beginning. Praggnanandhaa gave up a piece, and Jan was taking hits, but he was still alive, no knockdowns. Right here, Vladimir, like, can you explain what's really the drill, what's the problem, and how was it better to survive?
Okay, so if you struggle here with black, better to struggle for the price of the pawns than struggle for free, right? So here you'll definitely lose one of your pieces because queen is attacked, bishop and knight, everything is attacked. So just bishop takes h2 in this position, followed by knight c5. probably
Yeah.
was completely fine because king just escaped.
Yeah, of course, it looks scary. Still, white has some pressure. The game goes on, but I mean, Nepomniachtchi did the same, but like way worse. Because what happened in the game? In the game, knight c5 was played. It seems like, okay, rook d6, we go back, okay, we didn't grab the pawn. What's really the big deal? I mean, okay, we are right now equal material, but we maybe gained some tempo, our king is not on f7 anymore, and we are able to run away. Of course, in the previous position, rook was on d5 and there was no check, which also is a benefit. But right here, after queen d5, king h8, we cannot really say what was the main mistake, because both move of Nepomniachtchi, not playing bishop h2 but choosing knight c5, and the next move of Pragg that Vladimir will talk
Yeah,
about right now. They both
it
deserve
was
this
not queen
fifth
e5.
place.
That's it. That was very simple move, at least very obvious one. Not that maybe to calculate until the end, right? But queen e5 is a move that you must calculate here, must consider, because you're threatening rook takes h6, first of all.
Yeah.
There's no clear and obvious defense what to do in this position. And it just really crushing, looks like. I
Yeah,
don't see even...
because like if you go king h7, let's say there is a bishop of 5, king goes back, we have rook g6, you're just destroying, like literally nailing, you're attacking from all the sides, and this move is alright. And I could understand if he didn't play queen e5, but I don't know, did something else. But bishop f5, it looks wrong. I mean, you just fall into knight b7, which is the first
one
move
move.
to consider, yeah. Because why? Why is it obvious? Maybe for you it's not clear. Then the king, when your king is in danger, who is the strongest piece who can bring you down? Obviously the queen, because it's like the most powerful piece that exists on the board. I mean, if it doesn't count the king, who's rather the bait. And that's the reason why you need to trade it. And knight b7 simplifies the position as much as you can. And right
Yeah, that's
now,
triple attack, and the rook and the
yeah,
bishop and the queen. You have to trade, and that's 4 versus 4. Yeah, you have still bishop versus knight. You can push a little bit, but like 3 moves ago, with you just were almost winning, right?
yeah, because right now all advantage is gone. Yeah, it's like a little advantage remains because bishop versus knight, position on two flanks, and the bishop can use his wide range, but as you can notice, all the pawns on the dark squares, it's hard to attack with your bishop, who is really opposite color, and, I mean, yes, there are holes, but there is no queen who would fit, let's say, on g6 to deliver the mate. And that was top number 5. We like slowly approaching to the top 3, our bronze medal of this, I mean, challenge of this competition, and the top number 4, 1 place from the top 3, from the prize place, is a game of 2 American players, which is Hikaru Nakamura and Fabiano Caruana, and many people probably were kind of surprised with the outcome, because right now, I mean, can you describe, Vladimir, what is happening on the board? What is the
Yeah,
problem of
so
Caruana?
white is almost weak in this position because Nakamura before played some very strong moves like h4, etc. And they end up in this position where queen b4 just was played. And obviously Fabiano Caruana is probably even almost lost, right? Because b7 is targeted. There's another very simple tactic that appears, but it was not that simple for a black player, right? Caruana didn't see it
Yeah,
at all, and he lost 20 moves here.
that's exactly the reason why we said that Caruana's shape is not wasn't the greatest. And spoiler alert, like close your ears if you don't want to hear it, and like start listening in 5 seconds. I mean, it's not the last game of Caruana in this list.
Yeah, there will be one more at least. Here the problem was we just put it at number 4. Mistake is very, very obvious, but probably just because position was already kind of bad, maybe he would lose any case, so it was not that decisive. That's why. But the mistake itself, it's very, very obvious.
Yeah,
So
in the
black played
game,
b5.
b5, exactly. And it seems like we defended the pawn, it's right now defended very well. But what did Caruana missed?
Yeah, there is just typical force move once again. Calculate just force move, 97 check.
Yeah, true, king is
King
forced to
has
go
to
to
go to
h8
h8.
because the square is under control, yeah.
And probably, I don't know, maybe Caruana just blindly saw that knight g6 or something, but no, he can go knight d5, Nakamura I mean knight d5, and it just double attack. You
Yeah,
attack the queen
the
and the
game the
knight.
game was literally over because of queen f8 threat, and right now the king is going to
And the
be
mate, very
mated
important.
because the bishop controls everything, and that's why, like, if your coach tells you please solve tactics, please learn patterns, that's the reason why. This is a typical tactical pattern which is called discovered attack, and right now we attacking the queen, attacking the knight, we're ready to mate. And finally our bronze winner, and
Well,
it's like it's intrigue. Who do you think it is? And again, Firouzja is back on horse. He's back in our top. Uh, what can you say about this position, Vladimir? Why is it in this list?
okay, so here defense maybe it's not that easy. Okay, might be more or less easy for white because you just put rook
Because
behind,
yeah,
your king is
there,
near.
there are like few defenses. Being honest, like
Yeah, there's not like only line. But okay, the line you might lose at this position, but maybe after 10 moves, after 15 moves, but not in one. Like it's difficult to come up with a move that lose here in one move with white, right? You just probably don't see it. So king took pawn on d3, right? And what's again first thing you need to calculate the force moves, right?
yeah,
What can black try to do? G3, let's say. And then you know that if once pawn is in g2, you lose the game because g1 is already covered by knight. And how do you stop pawn from moving to g2? You can play rook e2, that obviously loses because of knight f4, or you can go rook g8. And the problem that you don't really stop it because g2 still might happen,
yeah,
and if you take the pawn, you lose the rook again.
yeah, because it's a fork, and that's the main problem. And that's probably what Firouzja blundered. But knowing how cool, how strong he is in the fast games, he definitely should have blundered something like that. Better moves were like rook d8 or rook here, trying to not let this pawn to promote, trying to keep the king close enough to stop this pawn, because this pawn was a game changing. This one way more easier to stop. And yeah, such
Yeah, you
pretty,
stop the pawn d with the rook, or you try to create counterplay
yeah,
going for a
yeah.
pawn, whatever, but
Because like yeah, king d3 is like not really
very simple.
it's like it's not the tactic that I don't know only 27 2800 gm can find. I guess like many players who watched it, many guys including you who saw this game, probably suspected that king d3 is the move in the wrong direction.
Yeah,
And
just like
yeah,
chess.com puzzles, right? When you do puzzles, and then you already, it's obvious that you're promoting the pawn, but it still forces you to move it and move it and move it until you reach like last promotion square. So that's what did Firouzja. He took on d3 and obliged Nakamura to move and move and move his pawn till g1.
okay, and
I love the game.
one step from the victory. I can't really say that it is a victory, knowing what kind of top it is, but still, Firouzja is again here. But here he kinda share his performance with another strong player, Jan Nepomniachtchi. They together in this game really rock and roll. And you might look at the position and wonder what's the problem. Like, I mean, black to move, there is no tactic. What can go wrong? What can go wrong, Vladimir?
Okay, so first of all, both players weren't in good shape in this game because Firouzja, it was his preparation. He played this kind of b3, bishop b2 and knight f3 line.
I don't really think it was like a preparation. He probably
Yeah,
just decided like, okay, everything is going bad. Let's play something unexpected, and he played
yeah, but he played
Larson.
some line against which Black played one of the most obvious and classical responses, like kind of London system structure, respond on c5, more or less. And here, alright, okay, he wasted a lot of time, but with Black, Nepomniachtchi here played move d4. That just looks awkward, first of all, because you're allowing all
I
kind of
mean,
threats.
I
Like,
mean, it's like it doesn't look awkward maybe to many players because we had a strong bishop who was shooting and we kind of closed it. But what's basically the problem beside this
is a
bishop?
bishop on h7 even, our own bishop, because it's like this line against London so that some people like to play with knight c6 and bringing it to e7 and pushing d6 e5, right? And then there is a key that the white in these positions cannot take d to e5, because, I mean, instead he cannot close d5, right, to attack knight on c6, because knight goes to e7. So here it's similar one, just similar structure. Our bishop on h7 is looking at pawn chain, and we cannot release the pressure, right? We need to keep the tension on with pawn standing on d5 or taking on e4. But now we have like one bishop less. Also, we close the center, and it allows classical attack for white pieces with a 4 and all attack on the king side. You first of all, yeah, you block counterplay with a 4 knight c4. You push f4, bring the queen, bring the
Yeah,
bishop, and
that's a problem because there is like a very famous rule, some sort that if you wanna attack on the flank, you want to close the center. And Tredier Nepomniachtchi with his own bare hands just close the center, helping Firouzja to start an attack. And this knight on c4 will be useful, the rest of the pieces will play very well, and that's the reason why. I mean, this position is really tough to play right now for Nepomniachtchi. What was better to do? Probably it was better to go bishop f6 to bait e5, and right now, as you can see, it's way more easier to find some counterplay because we can start pushing and our bishop is more or less active, and it's not so easy to organize an attack for white at this point. But what happened later?
okay, so
It was
yeah, they
d4.
just pushed,
Yeah,
and then white
e4.
just got some pressure.
It's like White applied some pressure, and the reason why, like first, Nepomniachtchi messed up, but we come into this, the most important position. This is a game where Firouzja could, show great performance. I would even name this is one of the best games of the candidates. In fact, I think this is one of the most disappointing games, but probably Caruana will compete with it. But yeah, by that time I really was excited how the game was going. But what went wrong? What's possible really to ruin here? What mistake is it possible to make, and how was it better to play? What are your thoughts, Vladimir?
Okay, so in this position, always white, always black wants to counterplay with a 5 somewhere, and sometimes it can become a little bit tricky. So white wanted to close position a little bit more and to attack kind of for free, right? So move f5 looks more or less obvious in this position, but if you play it right now, look at your bishop on h3, right? Where is this going? It just don't have any active diagonal, any active square where you can place it. So and also, which kind of position we achieve with move f5? It's closed position, so where knights are a little bit better than bishops, moreover the one on h3, right? So
Exactly,
the best
exactly.
move was to take, right? To take on
Because
d7
right
first,
now we
and then
have
play
like
f5.
three candidates. One candidate is to push the pawn, but as Vladimir said, it's obviously not great because it's like typical King's Indian bishop. When you're surrounded by your own pawn, you don't torture your bishop, please. It's like really, disrespectful. We have capture on d7, which is the right move for why, because we want to take first and then play f5, which actually was the best attempt. Because right now we have a knight in the close position versus bishop. We have pawn storm coming the same way as it happened in the game, but we have more flexibility. Because what happened in the game? Firouzja, out of nowhere, decided to remove his perfect knight for this idiot. Like this bishop, he's
Yeah,
surrounded by
bishop.
these pawns. How to explain it? It's hard to explain it. I didn't listen to the Flash interview. Maybe he explained it. My back would burn after this game, so I wouldn't be very excited explaining the reasons if I were Firouzja. But yeah, like knight d6, the move speaks for itself. You just go to the position with opposite color bishops, and then the king of Nepomniachtchi really went for a long walk, as it was in the game with the Vidit, the one on the ninth
Supposed
place,
to
I
be, yeah.
believe. Yeah, and I mean this very promising game, really crushing attack, turned out to be a draw because Nepomniachtchi managed to survive that, but it's not really the topic of the stop. And yeah, like I think if let's say some Capablanca played white, he would bring both to the school to show how to play this position because there were a few pretty famous games like that Capablanca won, but right here something went wrong. And finally, what do
The
we
first place.
expect? Yeah, what's it's like why we are all here? Who is the winner? And probably the memories are very flash. In for me, it's like some I don't know explosion flashbacks because it will come to me in the nightmares to what happened in this game, which is really inexplicable. But okay, I will start torturing you. It's a game of Caruana versus Nepomniachtchi, round number 14. What was the situation in terms of points, in terms of standings, Vladimir? Can you remind our viewers?
Okay, so Gukesh were half point ahead of everyone, and these two players were half point behind, and they were forced to win because Gukesh, even though he were losing, then it was meaning that Nakamura will win the game, and if Naka won, then he will be just the leader. So one of these two players needed to win on purpose, and here we end up in move 39s, I think,
Yeah,
where it's true
it's
that
move
Fabiano
number
Caruana had.
30, it's move number 39 of white. Yeah, that's true. And yeah, really, situation was tough. I mean, I cannot. I mean, actually, Gukesh was lucky to win the game number 13 because Nakamura. Oh, not Nakamura, sorry. Firouzja managed to spoil everything in his position because of time trouble. Entered here, like in this game of Fabiano versus Jan, really everybody wanted to win. It didn't work out well for Jan because, again, we remember top number 7 of this list. Entered here, that's, I mean, the price he pays. But Caruana was one step away from winning this game and playing tie breaks today, which is Monday, 22nd of April, and really had chances to qualify for the World Championship match, even though it's not that prestigious because Magnus is not playing, and I probably
Yeah, like Ding versus Gukesh will be very weird match to see. I think.
yeah. I mean, it's not like the first surnames that come to mind when you think about the strongest players in the world.
Yes.
But it's like
What
right
happened
here.
here, right?
Yeah, 54 seconds. Two moves to go to have an increment. What
Yeah,
move,
so that's
Vladimir,
like
would you
not
play?
exactly. It's not an excuse that Fabiano Caruana had 52 seconds because exactly when you have 52 seconds, the thing what you must do is to play the safest move. I think reach time control without any problems. So Bishop C2, my first coach Georgiy Tkachenko explained me that in this kind of position you need to bring Bishop 2 squares ahead of the knight, so you limiting all his jumps. He cannot go anywhere, right? You go here, and you threatening also to take pawn on h2. You can play g6. Basically, g6 is, I think, unstoppable threat. Because if now you, let's say, black plays anything, you cannot still probably take because g5 falls, right, in the end.
Yeah,
But you firstly play g6, and you take on h2. There's no counter plays, there's no checks, there's no anything at all that the
exactly.
black can do in this
Exactly.
position.
Because there is like one golden rule. When you have extra material, and it's kind of both. When you have extra material and the time trouble, do not allow any counterplay, do not mess up the position. Keep it simple as possible. Like, I mean, Caruana before had a few moments, he could take this pawn earlier and have super comfortable position. But what happened? Like everyone, like I asked my students, I asked Vladimir, we like asked our
I
friends,
ask my students as well.
everybody was like, "What the hell? Like, how on earth it was possible to play Bishop h7? Why this move is so ridiculous? Because it seemed like, okay, we're attacking the rook. What's the problem?"
Yeah, so the thing is, this move even didn't literally let me sleep the night because I remember exactly that I was watching it live on YouTube and exactly while Caruana was thinking like I just turned off the TV because I thought okay well here Bishop C2 and the game over there's nothing to see anymore and then before sleeping I said I'll just take my phone and I see the position before sleep and I see this move Bishop H7 and something went wrong so here again forced moves right and
Yeah.
you attack the rook right what do you expect in these positions that rook will hold to h8 and after g6 black will resign or something or rook will hold to d8 and will allow you to trade queens and win with two pass pawns obviously rook takes g5 was played
Yeah.
and then the point
And
that bishop lost with check.
I don't know, maybe Fabio was thinking that he was winning, but why on earth would you like to go for such position? Because that's inexplicable. This is how you
I don't
just
think, to be honest. In terms of that, I saw in later in camera that he were looking kind of stressed after, like
yeah.
his facial
He
expression were not
probably
that good.
just snapped because of the pressure. He couldn't hold it, which is weird because Fabiano is like one of the most experienced players in this tournament, and it's even weirder to see Bishop h7 really like. I mean, it's really hard
Yeah,
to express the
in
things.
general, Fabiano also were not the most stable emotionally player in any case. But here comes also rule number two, right? Let's move to moves ahead, like bishop h7, rook g5, takes. Yes, so now the second rule is that don't play move 41 as it was like move 40, right?
Yeah,
No need to rush. You get
yeah,
30
because
minutes
like
again.
you have so much time. Just think what Caruana. I mean, Caruana spent 2 minutes on this move, and this was a mistake. And like later, Nepomniachtchi messed up, and Caruana was winning. But it's not the point. Everything was about bishop h7 move. This is the biggest, I mean, the most dramatic mistake of the candidates, because right now black obtained counterplay. There are some mating ideas, knight, queen. They all really wanna bite the skin, and that's a problem. That's a problem.
Yeah, it's not easy to take h2 pawn
And
any longer because
yeah,
of queen c2.
the same game of Firouzja where he played g5 and it was move number 41. This is a move 41. This is like I played some, I mean, games against me opponents, did the same thing. I once survived like that. Let's say even in the Yusupov's book I saw such rule and such examples. But yeah, and that's how Fabi ruined. Honestly speaking, I mean, let's try to summarize everything we spoke about. I don't really think that really Caruana deserved to win the tournament because he was like really, as I said, like some. I mean, not in the best shape. He was like missing shots, and this example is a living proof of it. But on the other hand,
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
kind of like choosing from. I mean, when you, let's say, look at some previous candidates, like candidate 2013 where Magnus played, or even the one that Karyakin won, or like former like tournaments like with Kramnik, with all this Grishuk stuff, even Ivanchuk played, it was like really fundamentally good chess. This chess is like full of preparation, and like because of that I think that just general play struggle, and I can't really say that somebody deserved to win this tournament more than others. It was like, I don't know, just sort of randomizer. What do you
Probably
think,
instead
Vladimir?
Gukesh just mistake less than other players. Actually, we didn't see him right in the top. Yeah, we didn't see any his game. I think that he is the one who made mistake, right? So he just, except of the games that he's thrown away that didn't enter to this top versus Firouzja, where he just did some unexplainable things. Probably he just didn't do these blunders. Like for example, Nepo also played bad versus Firouzja. That the problem also was that of Nepomniachtchi was, for example, that he only person that didn't manage to win, like he just won one game out of a lot of games versus like Abasov, and I know if he how much he scored with Abasov, one of out of two or one
Who?
and a half.
Nepomniachtchi?
Okay, yeah, Nepomniachtchi
Yeah,
versus.
1 out of 2 he made
I think one
draws.
of two. He didn't manage to win versus the most weak player in the tournaments by far. That cost him, and also he's outside of the board decision, right? With choosing this opening versus
Yeah.
Caruana once again that we saw before.
I think Nakamura was
Uh,
very close because his chess were, I mean, his games were the most spectacular because they were interesting.
yes.
But his final opening choice, I mean, I'm speechless, honestly. So yeah,
Yeah, that's why you go to something like that. Also, and both like Caruana and Nakamura, they played D4 and all these things in the match game win. But in general, at least the situation with Fabiano here was very obvious in terms of that he knew that Nepomniachtchi also needs to win, right? So he
yeah,
knew that there will be some risk from both sides. And Nakamura problem was also that he lost two games versus Vidit. One of them didn't enter to this top because like we just can make the top out of one entire
yeah,
game. Like he didn't develop the pieces and end up losing in one of the games.
yeah. So yeah, generally that's our top 10. And we finish now video. Please, I mean, share your opinions, comment down below. If you
And subscribe.
liked, yeah, subscribe obviously because we are like fast growing channel with not so many subscribers yet. But we will keep posted video pretty often. We'll try to find some unique content. So if you liked our channel, our contact, please like and subscribe. And we'll see you in the next video. Goodbye.
Thank you.
Thank you.